Good morning. So one of the things I always get asked is, where are you actually from? The answer is Beacon Hill. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. I was born in Boston, and then my family, we lived in Beacon Hill on Gardner Street, and then I spent pretty much all of my childhood there until I was like 10 years old, probably 10 years old, something like that. But on Gardner Street, we lived next to the house that had like the Underground Railroad. So when you were maneuvering, coming in and out, like you had to walk past these groups of people who were there for tours in the summer, which like when you were younger was like kind of cool. You're like, oh, look at these people gathering at the house next door. And then as time goes on, you're like, why are all these people here? Like, I'm just trying to get in and out of my house. But, yeah, that's where we lived. And if you go down the hill, right, across the street used to be a Brigham's. Brigham's no longer exists, but we would always sit in the non-smoking section of Brigham's, even though my grandmother was a smoker. She never wanted us around smoking. So we always sat in a non-smoking section. And then in that little parking lot area, there was also a bookstore. So we'd go to Brigham's for like lunch or whatever. We'd go to the bookstore. We'd all get like a book or a bookmarker. Bookmarkers were like really huge back then. So we'd get like a bookmarker. And then we would make our way past the firehouse down to the liquor store where my grandmother always got her scratch tickets. Actually, fun fact, she won $1 million at that liquor store. It was a JB Liquors, I think is what it was called. BJ, JB, something like that. So that's where we like kind of grew up, like in that area. I spent all of my summers in Faneuil Hall. Every Friday night, they would have a free concert for classical music, and our grandparents would drag us down there. We'd be forced to listen to the classical music in front of City Hall, and then we'd make our way to Faneuil Hall. The street performers back then were like amazing. It's like one area you had like a juggler, unicycle, magic performer person, right? And then on either side of Quincy Market, you would have people singing, right? Like it was just so lively and fun back then. I haven't been in a long time because I don't know, I feel like it's not the same as it used to be. But that's the area that I pretty much grew up in. And then if you go towards the other direction, towards the river, Charles River, there was a laundromat that we would go to, and then next to the laundromat was like a VHS like tape place, and we'd get VHSs for like $3, and then we'd bring them back and we'd watch movies like in between my grandmother doing her laundry. So I spent a lot of time there. Frog Pond, like we would go in the winter time, but that was like on the other side of the hill, so we never really went that way. We always stayed towards the bottom of the hill. So that's where I grew up. That's where I spent most of my time. That's where all of my memories are on Beacon Hill. Also, fun fact, my grandfather was an engineer, and he built a radio tower that still stands across from the gas tank, right? You know, everybody knows the gas tank. Guaranteed it looks different now, and every time we would drive past it, he would say, that's my radio tower. I designed it. They've added to it, but that one's mine. So I come from a Beacon Hill family. I don't know what to say. Were we rich? No. But did my grandparents own the house and we all lived there? Yes. So I hope that answers your question. Did I move out of Beacon Hill? Yes. Did I go to a surrounding neighborhood? Yes. My mother's from Dorchester. My father's from Dorchester. My mother's more from like the Quincy side of Dorchester. My father's from like closer to Roxbury side of Dorchester. Like, you know, a lot of Boston people. That's where I'm from. I don't know what to say. So if you have any more questions, let me know. But that's my background.